stratification, and then we discuss some of the important terms from the stratification point of view. Now, here we have to discuss the main feature of the social inequality. Now, as name suggests that what is social inequality? We are going to categorizing the social inequality into two parts. The number one is wealth and the other one is income. Shariz, if you remember the Marxism diagram we already have discussed in our initial lectures, they said there are two classes, bourgeoisie and the proletariat, or other one is dominant, the other one is dominated class. The dominant class who holds the sources of the productions like wealth, like including lands, who have a much quantity of the land, stock, anything that is economically valuable. And the other one is known as proletariat class or the dominated class, or in easy words, you can consider them as a working class. Okay, they are struggling to fulfill their basic needs. Okay, so there are basically two classes, or you can explain them in the shape of income, that they have a more earning monthly, daily wages. If you make a comparison, there are two classes who are earning more, they have a more land, stock, shares, and other class who are struggling to fulfill their basic needs. Okay, so these are the two major reasons of the social inequality. The first one is wealth and other one is income. The elite class who has more income and the more wealth as compared to the proletariat class. Getting my point? The other one, Sharice,
yeah.
The other one is poverty. Now, what do you mean by the poverty? Sharice, poverty literally mean when you are struggling to fulfill your basic needs. Like for example, food, water, and the shelters. Getting my point? This is known as poverty. Now, what we do, we are going to divide poverty into two types. The number one is absolute poverty and the other one is relative poverty. Now, what does it mean, the absolute poverty? Sharid, absolute poverty is something when you are struggling to fulfill your basic need like food, water, shelter. This is known as absolute poverty. Other one is relative poverty. Relative, as name suggests, that when you are going to relate yourself with the other one. Getting my point? For example, you have a one canal home. Okay, you have a, let's say, Mercedes car. Okay, you have your kids and they are in the school of, or the best school of the town, but you still consider yourself a poor man. Why? Because you will make a comparison with the person who has a Land Cruiser or who has a V8. So you will make a comparison with that particular person and you will feel that I am relatively poor. So the poverty, relative poverty, is something when you will make a comparison other than your basic needs. The person who is driving a taxi, he will make a comparison with the person who is driving a Corolla. So taxi person will count himself a poor man. So that's become, what that's become? That's becomes relatively poverty. Okay. Sometimes people who have a huge amount of the wealth, or who has a huge amount of income, they normally buy luxury brands and the products. Why? Because they just wanted to pretend in the society that they have a brand. They want their luxury brands, clothes, identity into the society. Everyone knows them, that this person wears, let's say, branded shoes, branded clothes. Okay, if for example, if there are 100 brands in a line, they have ability, they can buy from every brand. Okay, and why they are going to buy? They just wanted to pretend within a society that this person have a V8, this person have a Mercedes. This is known as conspicuous consumption. Okay, why? because you just wanted to show your identity. This is just like a pretension. You just wanted to pretend yourself with a gold, with your wealth, with your car. So whenever you will make a comparison with that kind of a person, you consider yourself a poor man. Now, what are the causes of the poverty? Unemployment. When it's unemployment, we already have a discussion in the economics with that when your disposable income will decrease, like the income you receive after tax, known as disposable income. When your disposable income will decrease, you will demand less, and when you will demand less, the government will produce, the organization will produce less, and when they will produce less, they don't need much employees. Is that so? They will fire their remaining employees. Ultimately, unemployment will increase, and when unemployment will increase, people don't have much money to afford or to fulfill their basic needs. So unemployment is another the reason of poverty. Other one, illiteracy. If you don't have a exposure, you don't have a skills how to handle the new world, again the cause of the poverty. The other one, cycle of the poverty and the poverty trap. Almost similar things. Like for example, by born you are in a poor family, okay, your dad is poor, your mother is poor, and you are unable to get admission into the good schools, into good college, and there are so many responsibilities around you, and if you wanted to make yourself rich, then you would be unable to fulfill your other responsibilities. So that's everything that becomes trap for you, and ultimately you will stay in the poverty circle. Getting my point? Now the other one, welfare states. There are some welfare states which basically supports the person who is unemployed, or you can say the poor people. Okay, just you can say they are supporting the well-being of the citizen. There are two concepts on the welfare states. The first one is support, the other one criticism. Now, what do you mean by support? Some school of thought that support the welfare states, that should be in the society, because the people who are poor, who are unemployed, illiterate, or who are in the trap of the poverty, there must be some organization who must support them. Okay, that's become a supportive concept. Other one, criticism. They criticize the welfare states. They said when the organization or the government give them aid, they will give them aid until unless they don't have a job, or they don't get a job, good job. So that's make them more lazy, and they don't try to get a job. Why? Because they are getting their amounts from the government. So in that point of view, that becomes the criticism on these welfare states. So there are some of the reasons we have discussed under the heading of the poverty.